Hey, man.
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yo, hang on.
That's better. Yo, yeah, you right?
You can hear me, right? We're good?
Yeah, you're good, my end, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
good, because I only have half my setup here. I'm dog sitting for a friend, so I don't have all my stuff here, so I was making sure I had enough to get everything working right. But yeah, it looks like we're good. We're live on everywhere. So
It's
what's going on?
like a bank holiday here.
Really?
Yeah, we get bank holiday. Don't you get them this time of year?
Uh,
Last week,
yeah,
bank
I
holiday
guess
now.
like Labor Day and Memorial Day and stuff would be
Oh,
counted
we get
as them.
more and more now. They just keep throwing them at us. We've always had this one. It's like the hottest one it's ever been, apparently.
Uh-huh.
So, but like nobody's out. Like I went out, and it's just so strange. Like the hottest bank holiday.
Hmm.
And I mean, it's pretty quiet. Like you'd think, like the common would be packed, people sunbathing, but it's just pretty
Yeah.
strange. And
Man,
like 30 is as hot as it will get in England. It's 30, which I guess is nothing where you are.
I gotta try to remember the conversion between,
It's about 89 Fahrenheit.
Oh, okay.
That's our record.
Yeah, I was gonna say 30 is freezing where I'm at, so.
No way.
Well,
No, 89 Fahrenheit.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what it's like out there.
Yeah, I'd expect people to be out and about on beaches and everything like that. Man, let me just to start this off, just because it's been on my mind and because tomorrow morning I have to see this person. Let me tell you about this interaction at work because I think it's gonna resonate with some of the things you were saying last time when we spoke. So, remember last time we spoke, I was telling you about the conversation with me and my mom about men and women and working together and things like that, and how my conversation with her went so far off the rails that it sort of ended up making my point. So
Right, yeah.
I was trying to tell that story to this coworker I have. Now this guy, older black guy, um very politically informed in some senses. Like in some senses, it seems like he gets it, and in others he doesn't. He's a veteran, so I respect that. I mean, I got along really well with this guy. Like, I mean, to the point where between him and this other coworker, I had been saying I need to talk to them on how I can find some way to volunteer to do stuff with vets because I can learn a lot from these guys and I want to give back for what they've given. I mean, my and in the matter of one sentence of one conversation, my perspective went to from how can I help these people? How can I be around these people more to fuck this guy?
Worse
Like
by burying. Yeah.
so so I'm talking to him and I'm trying to tell him about this conversation about me and my mom having about, the differences between men and women. And
They're all equal, Jamie.
at some point though,
Equal. How
it
dare
went
you?
it went off the rails where next thing I know he's talking about Trump and saying, "Oh, well, Mitch McConnell said when Obama got into office, he was going to block him from doing whatever and this is." And I'm trying to explain to him, I'm like, "Listen, man, it's like professional wrestling. Like I don't have a team. Like yeah, out in front of the cameras they're like I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to stop you. This and that." I said, "And then they're all friends behind the scenes." Like I thought he got that, but I guess he doesn't. So anyway, though, at one point he's like, "Oh, well, when Kamala Harris was talking about busing and this and that," I'm like, "Yeah, which she never experienced or never lived through. She's appropriating other people's experiences." And he's like, "Well, I went through it, and I had people like you spitting on me for being black." Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you know enough about me, like that for someone to try to lump me in the category with some 1950s fucking racist is appalling. Like, because half my family's black. I grew up in a black school district. I'm shouted out
Yeah, you
on.
need to do the black test. I've got a black test, and it kind of sorts me out, basically.
I'm
You
shouted
need to,
out
you
on
need, no,
rap.
fucking James, no, no. You need to do this early on, right? Soon to meet a black dude, just be honest and say, look, the majority of black people I meet, like, they're nice and everything, but after you get to know me, we just do not get on. So I'm just letting you know now that majority of black people don't get on. Don't hate them, just saying don't get on. And then if they like can't handle that, you've just dodged a bullet. And if they like want to talk about, like, you know, if they sound intrigued, you might be safe.
Well, see, and that's the thing. Most of my friends would be like,
Get it out with it straight away.
Most of the ones I'm close to, like Cans, my friend who's a rapper and stuff, he would say, he'd be like, yeah, he would just be like, yeah, I hate niggas, and I'd be like, oh, okay, like
racist. So.
But yeah, I mean, it's like you're saying people like me would spit on black people, and it's like I'm shouted out on a rap record as being the realest nigga here. Like, so who are you talking to? Who are you talking about? Like, because obviously not me, but it's like it was just so shocking and appalling because all I could think is I'm like,
days are over, man.
I'm like, first of all, it's like I'm born in '86, so to think that there is even like a part of my brain that is anywhere similar to that, like, it's so baffling. And
why are you defending it? Like, that's where you're going wrong. Just go along with it now. I'm just like, yeah, by definition, I'm a racist.
Yeah,
like
that's
like racist is badge of honor now, dude. Come on.
That's I might as well.
Like, all the black dudes I like that I think are really cool.
But here's the thing, though, is I didn't even say anything for that. I mean, it's strictly over my skin color, and that's the thing that's so appalling. Like, it would be equivalent to me saying...
You're not a skin color, you're a test tube, baby.
Well, see, and that's another funny thing. I'll get to that. You know, but no, the thing is basically, like, if I were to go and say, oh, well, I once got into a fight with a black guy, so people like you are... you know, criminals and aggressive, and I mean, it's so ridiculous. So anyway, I'm at my job last night.
Benjamin said, I'm not a white supremacist, but I am a white enthusiast. Like, I'm enthusiastic about them.
Well, now here's the fun. You'll appreciate this, because I was talking at work, and I was like, you know, I have a British friend I do podcasting with. I said, and the idea of calling, like, Europeans white is very odd to them because, like, the British are British, the Italians are Italian, the Germans are German, and there's a world of difference between all of them. So as I'm saying this, there's a guest at the place I work at, a black woman, and she walks by and she starts laughing, and I flat out said, I said, you're laughing because you know I'm fucking right. And she's like, you're so right. She said, I know people that if you go to them and you say you're black, they say, fuck you, I'm Jamaican. And I'm like, exactly.
Oh, yeah, when it suits him,
exactly. No, see, I know a lot of Jamaicans that they don't like being called black. They are Jamaican because they're proud of their heritage.
Yeah, until you catch them with when you're the only white guy now with loads of black mates, and then.
Yeah, I could see that in the scenario where it's you know, the commonality there, but it's like it's just so. It's so stupid and played out to me that, like I said, it really, it's really bothersome to really have a lot of respect for someone, and in one sentence they can just flush it all down the drain, and I can just be like, fuck that guy. Like, he's a dick. Like, and he's no better than the people that were spitting on him, obviously.
He's just dodged a bullet because you can waste a lot of your time in these relationships, and then you let race cards slip all the time, and then they'll just drop you in it the first chance they can. And it's a dangerous situation because you'll get close and have conversations with them, and then they'll just twist what you said to make you sound like flipping Hitler.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's the thing I was trying to make, because he was like...
They'll even say, oh, Paul said this. It's like, you know too well I didn't say that. You wish, like, they'll argue. Like, that's the biggest thing I come across, is people will argue things I didn't say.
Well, and here's...
Paul said this. Paul said this. Like, did I say that? I said, but it sounded like you said that.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things.
Your imagination.
Is because one of the things he was saying was he was like, you know, and Trump isn't getting anything. Like, in the same breath, he said Trump isn't doing anything, but he's only doing what he wants to do and isn't working with anyone. And I said, then what is it? I said, is he doing nothing, or is he only doing what he wants to do? Like, how can it be both? Like, just a common sense question. So it's like, oh, well, you know, he's your guy. And I tried to tell him, I said, I don't have a guy. I don't have a team. I said, I want the whole thing blown up. I said, and it just looks as if he's the guy that's doing it at the time. I said, so to think I'm enthusiastic. Like when he brought up Mitch McConnell, I'm like, who? Fuck Mitch McConnell. I'm not interested in these swap out players and, you know, here for 4 years, the next douchebag is in for the next 4 years, this and that. And I'll say things like, I think the biggest problem with politics is lawyers getting into lawmaking. And he'll say, yeah, you're right about that, but everyone he supports is a lawyer that's gotten into lawmaking. And it's like, there's such a disconnect, and it's like, it really bothers me, these people where it's like, you know, it's like the you can lead a horse to water thing, and it's like these people are at the water, they're dipping their toes in, but they just don't want to go in. They're just like, I can't take that dive, like I can't go all the way with it, and it's like, whatever. I mean,
I saw these two black chicks at the park the other day. And I haven't really like spoken to people in a while, so I saw they were smoking weed. So I thought, okay, yeah, talk to them. And then like one of a fucking disaster. I should not do race relations, that's for sure. It was a fucking disaster. So I started talking to them. It's all friendly and that. And then I asked them what they were doing, and they're like, "Oh, one of them is studying climate change, the effects of carbon on climate change." So that conversation went on for 10 minutes, didn't go great. But like, I'm not being harsh. She should be the best person to at least get my mind, at least try and change my mind about carbon being a problem. Like, I should laugh about it. She had nothing. And then
yeah.
her friend was working for the NHS, and she was all into vaccinations, going, "Oh, I bet you're not into vaccinations then." And they take all of them. She's like, "Oh, we've had 5 vaccinations this year." I was like, "Oh my God." And so, and I didn't know this. We had this problem in the UK, but now I do know we've got this problem. She was like, "Oh well, like I've got to believe in the carbon thing anyway, because like I paid 50 grand to learn about this." And like, so you're just fucking in the deep state then.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I heard
So like, no, but Anam, so they started going on about Trump. She's going, "Oh, we hate Trump, we hate Brexit." So I was like, "Oh, why?" And she's like, "Well, Trump's a racist." And I'm like, "Come on, like you're young black girls, like you can't just call people racist that you disagree with, right? Like you do get that, right? Don't you?" And it's like, "Yeah, no, we get that." It's like, "What? So is Trump really a racist?" And they're like, admitted, okay, he's probably not a racist. And I was like, "This is really insane. Like I think it's worse over here."
probably. Um, what was the thing I was going to say is, you know, you should look into Michael Jones, I heard, reference this documentary called House of Numbers. And it's about AIDS. And,
Yeah, I've seen it.
oh, you have? You have?
Yeah, watched
Uh,
it twice.
yeah, me too. Mind blowing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like I see a correlation where climate change became the new AIDS, basically, where it became this sort of scare, panic, fear porn thing that they're like dumping tons of money into, but saying like, well, we'll only fund it if you research it from the angle we want it researched from. Like in any other direction or anything that could reach any other hypothesis or conclusion, like we won't.
It was fucking disturbing because I don't know anything about carbon, but I just spoke to this lady for 10 minutes and I just destroyed her. Like, as nice as I could, it wasn't like I was being rude. Just asking her the basics, and she had like nothing. And all she had was, I'm going to quote, I'm just going to quote the IPCC. And it's like, can you tell me what the IPCC is? And it's like she just read a script out of a textbook.
Yeah.
And it's like, after 3 minutes, I just said, is it safe to say you mean a lobbyist? You mean the IPCC are lobbyists? They're not scientists, are they? Is there one scientist in the IPCC? And she's like, no. It's like, so they're lobbyists then? And she's like, well, yeah. And it's like, how can you like study this for 3 years and not even like it seems like this is the first time you've come across any of these arguments.
Yeah.
So I'm not blaming you for not answering, but it just seems bizarro. And it's just like 50 grand in. Because like the only reason I'm going to talk to him is you're looking for dating potential and you're thinking her dating potential is like nothing. She's not really even that attractive. She's quite young, she's quite naive, she's stupid, she's got a useless fucking degree. She's
Yeah.
very useless. And she's 50 grand in debt. She's only like 20, 21. She couldn't be more than 21.
I'll tell you. I was thinking about it
My mate
actually.
was in 50 grand.
I was thinking about it the
Yeah.
other day actually, where it's like I feel
What?
blessed in sort of a way where it's like, you know, even whether it was like I was listening to the Irrational
No, but
Atheist.
Jamie, I'm the dumb one because I don't get it, right?
No, you're the smart one. See, that's
No,
the
they were like
thing.
looking at me as if I was like a space alien.
You know, I think it's a thing where there's just some people that it's like propaganda doesn't work on them. Like I was listening to Vox Day's book, The Irrational Atheist, at this other job I'm working with this guy who does supplements, and like me and him are on the exact same like wavelength as far as questioning things. And so he was like, "Oh, I used to be really into all those atheist guys, and then I realized there's more to the world than that." And I said, "Yeah," I said, "that's Sam Harris's big thing, where he'll be like, religion is bad, but I'm going to go on a silent retreat in a Tibetan mountain for 2 months to find spirituality," as if it's not different names for finding the same thing and stuff. So anyway, I'm listening to part of the book where they're talking about how evolution, you know, gets taught and taught without question, and holes continually get blown in this theory, and it never gets revised or updated. And they're talking about how science is supposed to be fun and inspiring and wonderful and all of this. And it's like, I like questioning things, so you would think that I would gravitate towards science, but I've always done really bad in it in school. But that's because all the science that gets pushed is far more propaganda than test and experiment and, you know, any of that stuff. It's always, you know, who was it? Tesla had the thing that he said, like, scientific experiments are being replaced with mathematical formulas and all this other stuff. And it's like, the propaganda doesn't work on me, where you just can't say, well, this is what it is, and then base everything off of that. I'm going to say, well, why is it that way? Like, so whether it's climate change or evolution or any of these things,
I'm
like it,
not disputing climate change. Like I even explained to him, not disputing climate. That's ridiculous. No one is fucking debating climate change. That would be dumb.
yeah,
They're debating whether carbon
is the
is the
culprit.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay? So you gotta keep, that's the thing, it's just like Owen Benjamin sums up, it's wizardry. It's
Yeah.
just the way they use linguistics and rhetoric to change, to send you down giant rabbit holes you don't need to go down. And that, I don't think that African God ever come across the idea of just, let's just concentrate on carbon. Like, are you serious you want to tax carbon? Are you sure carbon's a bad thing?
Yeah, I know. It's like,
And the thing with the vaccines was insane. She was going to say you're anti-vaccine. I was like, no, because that would be insane. I'm pro-vaccine. I'm very concerned about what they put in the vaccines, what they mix with it, and just how we're being pumped with it. And is there another agenda behind it? I'm not saying I'd be against the idea of vaccines, but to
yeah.
say there aren't problems with it, like if you come across any health risks, and it's just like, no, they're safe. I was like, what? And she's going, I bet you're going to quote autism. I was like, yes. And I was like, do you want to speak to my ex-girlfriend? She was a heart surgeon, like a heart surgeon for 25 years. She doesn't go anywhere near a fucking vaccine. And
Yeah,
neither
they
do
say
any of her
most
others.
doctors and nurses and
Okay?
everyone in the industry of what
Not
I know a girl who is a nurse who
right.
was
Is Diana an anti-vaxxer? No. Why is she anti-vaccine? Because she sees the risk daily. She
well, yeah,
sees
yeah.
it.
I know a girl who's a nurse who her son
The
has autism,
risks.
and she knows it's from the vaccine because she said he was fine one day, went in for a shot, and the very next day, and I mean, it turned her staunchly anti-vax, and she's a nurse, and she sees it every day now, and she had it happen with her own kid because
Yeah,
she
and I
thought,
don't think it's necessarily because they're mixed. I think it's overloading a child with 5 or 6 of these vaccines, and the
yeah.
body's like, fuck that.
Well, and
And,
it's
it,
not
and she was
even
like, oh,
that.
you
It's
gotta
the
give them to
it's
babies. I was like, do you know a baby hasn't got an immune system? And she laughed. She didn't believe me. It's like, there's no point vaccinating. It's just, all it is just behavior control. It's getting the parents used to the idea early on that it's okay to shoot them up. Those vaccines don't contain anything. They're blanks.
yeah. Well,
So the baby doesn't have an immune system.
speaking of a
And she like,
semi
I
court,
could be wrong on this, but she was like just like shivering, going, "It's like you're qualified in this. I'm not. You should be
yeah.
able to debate me off straight off the bat." I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure a baby does not have an immune
No, it
system. There's no
doesn't.
point.
Now, one
And
of the
then the last
things,
one I said was, can you explain to me how, if it's scientific and it's science, how does a flu jab work? Because you're going to sound insane explaining it to me. You tell me how a flu jab works. Sell it to me.
well, yeah, and even the thing is,
Do you
like,
know how many flu strains there are in 1 year?
exactly, yeah, and that's the
And then
thing is,
you've got to predict the one that's going to come in the future. Like, you need a time machine. It's the only way you can sell this to me. And
yeah,
you've got a time machine.
um,
I don't understand. That's how my mum figured it out. As soon as I said, explain a flu jab to me, it's just like, bollocks. It just doesn't make sense, does it? It's like, it's just so ridiculous. Like, how does a flu jab work, honestly?
yeah. Well, and that's the thing
And
is,
that's the most common one we get.
yeah,
Are you taking your flu jab, Jamie?
and the other thing is though, is it's like the other thing that should
How
work.
often have you had the flu, Jamie?
Very rarely.
I've had it twice.
Yeah, probably the same.
Maybe once.
And you know the thing is too is like I just question like the whole like. First of all, you know, there's the thing with the companies not being liable, but second from that is like it's free.
I
It's like
expect a
who's
better debate
who's
from 70 grand's worth of debt.
yeah,
You're
right?
70 grand in debt between the two of you. And
But it's like how
I just
often
love
are
going, I think
things
you need
that
to give Trump a chance. Just going, but what about the wall? It's racist. It's like every country has a wall. And they're like, oh yeah, shit. It's like they've never heard any counter argument.
yeah.
Like, I'm not throwing anything, any curveballs, really.
Yeah.
I
Well,
would have
oh,
thought these
now
are just
actually,
like the go-to
and you know what I thought was
boring.
really funny is the guy I was talking to at work, he basically had the attitude that, you know, there's no chance that Trump could win re-election, and I'm like, the Democrats can barely fundraise at this rate. Like they have 3 fundraisers coming up in Mexico. Do you think that's really going to win over them with the American people? Like it's the other thing that bothers me is the Democrats have blatantly given up on Black America. So it just
No one
hurt,
cares. No, I'm not going down that. They don't know. The Democrats are gone, mate.
huh?
They're gone. There's no
Yeah.
such thing as a Democrat anymore.
No, it's
Forget it.
true. They're all socialists.
Forget it. It's gone. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gone.
Yeah, they're all just staunchly
Same as the Republican
socialist.
Party. That would be like Trump's not an idiot. I can't see what the Republican Party's going to do once Trump's finished. They're going to be the same as the Democrats because
Well, and I'll
Trump's
tell you
genius in that
what,
way.
that's the other thing where that's what these people should really be worried about, because it's like Trump is very he's like a, you know, center right kind of Democrat in a lot of ways, like
Yeah,
an
if you
old
had to
school
put him in a
Democrat.
box, you'd probably put him in that one.
Yeah, like a center right moderate Democrat. So it's like I just wonder like are you guys going to be able to handle the candidate that Generation Z, this generation that we know is up and coming, that is against gay marriage, that is against
Well, I think
tattoos, and all
I want
this
to
like
get onto Epstein when we're on Trump because there's a big problem with Trump and Epstein, and pretty much what I said happened.
well, let
I
me
want to expand
let
on
me
it.
just cover this one thing real quick then, because I think the vaccine thing kind of ties into it, because it's another thing that's been dismissed forever as a conspiracy theory that's now broken through in the
What,
mainstream.
chemtrails?
No, fluoride. We've now had a big study linking the low IQ impacts of fluoride in drinking water, where even people on the Daily Wire, like Michael Knowles, is saying, you know, Alex Jones has been vindicated. We're all Alex Jones now. You know, I mean, I was so surprised by some of the things I'm seeing the Daily Wire staff say. Shapiro must be fucking stewing, because
Shapiro.
you have Knowles out there saying, you know, the frogs are turning trans, the fluoride is killing people. Even Michael Knowles, I saw on the Candace
Have you
Owens
seen the
podcast.
Shapiro meme where it's got the Ku Klux Klan guys selling the sheets?
No, I haven't seen that one. I've seen
This
a few
Ku
of
Klux
them,
Klan
but
guy walks up to do a speech, and instead of him talking, it's got Ben Shapiro voiceover doing his selling for sheets. He's going, I like these sheets. If anyone knows, I have problems sleeping, so I need the best sheets.
that's
And
so
obviously got this guy
funny.
wearing this sheet.
Yeah.
Use promo code Ben Shapiro for your 10% discount. The finest sheets in America.
But I mean, I even saw who's that guy, like Andrew Clavin on Candace Owens's podcast, and he's on there talking about how there was something to the Pizzagate conspiracy, being like, Olifantis was David Brock's boyfriend. He
What
is
do you mean
very tied
was?
in, or was.
Why we don't fall for that? We did that in the UK, still do that in the UK. Why are you saying was?
I don't know. Are they still together?
You know why? Because whenever they put any kind of paedophile scandal, that whenever it comes out, especially like you see with Epstein, it's always finished with, oh, this was historical, oh, it's in the past. They're still fucking doing it.
No. Well, I'm just saying. I don't know.
Alefantas
I don't.
is
I don't think him and
still.
Brock are still together, though. I'm pretty sure that.
Well, I don't know.
But either way, I mean, that's a small irrelevant detail to the fact that this
No,
guy
but
is super tied in still to that power
yeah, they're still
structure.
creeping around.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, whether or not they're a couple or not that's not even a relevant detail. He still is one of the most influential people in Washington out of what, a pizza shop? Like, come on. So, and that's the thing he was saying. He said the media got everyone caught up in the conspiracy aspects of it and wasn't asking the appropriate questions of who is this guy? Why is he so influential? Why does he know all these people? How is he this important? And all of this other stuff. And,
What's with the Instagram account?
so it's just really, really crazy to see a lot of the
What's with those bands that promote drugging kids and raping them?
right?
What's that about?
I mean, it's just really interesting seeing a lot of the Daily Wire guys basically parroting Alex Jones talking points at this point. But it's like they're saying we're all Alex Jones at this rate because Alex Jones has been so vindicated. And unfortunately, it's happened after he's been deplatformed and
Oh
everything
no, it
else.
happened in the UK. Like the UK is a tiny little place. We had a big Alex Jones guy that was really good because there's way much calmer. He's from the north as well. It's like Paul Joseph Watson, but more palatable.
Uh-huh.
And he did long 20-minute, 30-minute, good little mini documentaries, one a week. Had a giant following, just completely deplatformed.
Wow.
No warning, anything. It's called the Iconoclast.
That
It's
sounds
really good as well.
familiar.
Yeah, you would probably know. It's a lot like Blackpilled kind of thing,
Yeah.
UK kind of thing. Iconoclast, and he's gone. He had 300,000 followers, which you might not think that's much, but for the UK, it's fucking
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, for a political party in the UK, anything political, that's massive.
Yeah. So anyway, let's go on to what about Epstein have you uncovered?
I just think I don't think anything's changed. I just think it's Lord of the Rings. And
Uh,
now Trump is the swamp because what the situation is there's all this material, all these DVDs, all these videos with Prince Andrew of XYZ, Richard Branson of XYZ, whatever. So they've got these videos, they've got all this evidence. Looks like they need to release the evidence. They're going to have to show screenshots of every single video because otherwise that's going to always be future blackmail material. It just means someone else has got it.
That's a good
And
point.
Trump's got it. All that's happened is the corruption's changed hands. There hasn't been any justice. It's just like a mafia movie. The power shifted from Trump just stole the gem of the gem, the Ark of the Covenant,
Well,
the
here's the
blackmail
thing.
material, and now he's
Here,
got it.
here's the
Or
thing.
someone's got it.
Let me put this out there. My boss at my one job had her house broken into, let's say 3 months ago. A week after that, they got video footage of the car that was out in front of her house. Now, they figured out whose car it is. They've interviewed the woman several times. 2 months later, still nothing. Like, because they have to find, a piece of evidence or things like that. The unfortunate thing about the American justice system, and it's unfortunate in a situation like Epstein, but fortunate in the situations where people are wrongly accused. It's that guilty until proven innocent thing. Like, the things are a long process. Like, let's remember the OJ trial went on for what, a year or two? Like, these things drag out, unfortunately, for forever. And I mean, it's like, and then there's the whole thing with,
Yeah, I thought that at first, that it's good
like,
because otherwise now you can fast track everything, but we've not seen that. If anything, we've seen it slow tracked.
but here's the other thing too. If they just started putting out those videos into like public domain, well, now you are tainting the jury pools. So that's like one of the other things where it's like you can't have everyone walking into a jury when you're supposed to have an unbiased jury and everyone has seen a video of you fucking a 16-year-old. Everyone's going to walk in knowing you're guilty. Like,
Don't matter
so,
anymore. The guy is dead.
well, no, I'm not saying for Epstein. I'm saying for all these other people that he has footage of.
Yeah, no, I think that'll be fine. Yeah.
Because like they're obviously gonna have to bring all them to trial and stuff like that. Now, when
I'm not gonna see it. Yeah, that's my prediction. I'm not gonna see it.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't think you'd end up seeing Epstein make it all the way through trial. That's part of why I wasn't surprised with the suicide thing. I knew when they said the first suicide attempt, I was like, oh, he's gonna be gone in,
Yeah, one thing, everything. There is one logic point which everyone's missing on this. Why did they take him off suicide watch? Why did they take him off suicide watch? Because he told him that someone tried to kill him. Would that not take you immediately off suicide watch? Does that not explain it? Because you're not suicidal then, are you? You got attacked. They're different. If he did
Yeah,
get
but
attacked
it's
first time round, that would get you off suicide watch. He'll go, oh, I got attacked. It's like, oh, so you're not suicidal. It's like, no.
yeah, but
Like,
I don't
that
know.
would get you straight off, surely.
Let me tell you, my mom
Does
thought
that not make sense though? Come on.
No, it doesn't, because my mom thought I tried. Let me tell you, my mom thought I tried to commit suicide once, and I was brought into a hospital for it, and they knew on that day that I didn't try, and I still had to spend 5 days in a suicide watch psych hospital.
Yeah, prison's a bit different. Like they would have actual evidence. Like the place would be rigged with video.
Well, see, but
Like,
that
you did
and
actually get
that's it. See,
fucking
but here's to your point with that though, Paul. You're asking to make for this one part of the story to make sense when none of it makes sense. Like why did the cameras fuck up? Why did like?
No, I'm just pointing out it's weird that no, I haven't had anyone else. To me, that's like really obvious. Oh, you're not suicidal then. Like if I was the doctor and I saw the evidence that he was attacked, I'd be like, okay, well, clearly you don't need to be on suicide watch then.
But
you need to be on fucking homicide watch, bro.
I guess, but again, if someone just isn't in, like,
it makes sense. I'm sorry, it makes sense.
Yeah, but the thing is
like,
you're not supposed to believe them.
Story. Like the story's nonsense. Like,
but I'm saying, from the perspective of the doctor, even if someone, you're not supposed to believe them. That's the thing. You're supposed to err on the side of caution.
No, I've seen the video of this dude with Hillary beating the fuck out of him trying to kill him. That is definitely not suicide. It's definitely not suicide.
I mean, I definitely don't think it was a suicide, but I'm just saying I don't. It's not as there's no magical phrase you can say to just make a suicide watch go away.
No, but it might be more than a phrase. They could have an actual video, like actually getting fucked up.
Now that's true. If there was video proof of it, then I could say
like actual evidence that he was kicked the fuck out. So it's like, okay, well then suicide watch obviously is done.
But I'm saying if they thought
they should put him on homicide watch.
I'm saying if they thought he tried to commit suicide, though, there's nothing he could say that, I mean, he would at least be under a week of...
Totally. But if they had a video where he'd beaten shit and he's like, oh no, they were trying to kill me, I'm like, okay, this all makes sense now. I don't know.
I mean, I mean, we've seen things, though, where it's like, aren't there investigations into, like, 20 of the staff members from that prison now and stuff? I mean, I'm pretty sure there's, like, lots of people are being brought in for questioning, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. But, you know, to your point before, like, do I think we're going
Trump said Clinton's did it, pretty much.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
I know, I saw that.
It's like, it was the Clinton. He pretty much wrote, It was the Clintons.
Yeah. Which, and I'll tell you what, like, some of the times I think, like, we got to
Yeah, it
remember
must be true because wouldn't the Clintons sue him for that?
that,
Surely the
yeah,
Clintons would
yeah,
fucking sue him
they,
for
yeah,
that.
they would go after him for that. But it's also, you got to
That's got to be
remember,
legit.
Trump has access.
The president of the United States tweet that you killed the most prime suspect.
I mean, Trump has access to resources that I'm sure we don't even know exist, like as far as surveillance and things like that. And
Right,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure, like, the Clintons are technically, they still have Secret Service, so I'm sure Trump could make a call, and if he's got an inside guy with an eye on them, that's probably part of why he hasn't gone after Hillary, is because he's probably like, well, I'm just going
On
to assign
holiday with him.
I'm just going to assign your Secret Service and have them keep an eye on you to keep you in check. Like, you can keep your freedom, but I'm going to keep an eye on you. Like, because you always got to remember, one of the things I say about this stuff with politics, and it became very apparent in when Trump was talking about Obama and the Iran deal, is like, these are warring mafia factions, basically. That's the easiest way to look at it, because it's like, I don't know if you ever saw the show Gotham, but it's based off of like the villains of the Batman comics, and you have like the Riddler with his little squad, and Barbara with her little squad, and the Penguin with his, and it's like, when you would hear Trump talk about Obama and the Iran deal, it very much sounded like a scene from Gotham where he's like, well, and Obama sent them $1 million on a pallet of cash, but he didn't even get to check their weapons, and, this and that, and the arms deal, and this, and like, it really is just like warring mafias that are
Yeah, but
like,
Trump was hanging about. Like, no one's reported on this. Why was someone needs to ask Trump, why was he hanging around Prince Andrew days before all this all kicked off? I met up with him a few times. What was going on there?
I have no idea, but I
Yeah, you
mean,
do, because when he came to England, he spent 2 days with Prince Andrew playing golf.
well, then
Where
that's
they
what
were
he was
gonna.
doing. Like,
Yeah, yeah. And they even said in the articles that there's going to be strong conversations between Prince Andrew's going to try and negotiate with Trump and set him straight. And then he saw him in France as well, just a few months ago. They were together. And you think, because Prince Andrew's gone, man. He's disappeared. Hide him.
well,
Because the
that
English
doesn't
want him, like,
surprise me.
people are not impressed. Now, I think they're all figuring out that nothing's going to happen. My prediction is we'll probably get a royal funeral.
Well,
I think that'll
who
probably
is
come
it?
off.
Jordan Maxwell has always said, and again, this goes back to what I'm saying about it being mafias. You don't have the head don of one faction
No,
take
but
out.
why is how come Alex Jones hasn't brought up? Like, it's not conspiracy. Trump had spent 2 days. He was only here for 3 days. 2 of those days he was just charming around with Prince Andrew. Why? Why would that be on Trump's list of shit to be doing?
Because they're world leaders.
Prince Andrew's been out there. He's just an arms dealer,
But
really.
but let me ask, did
He doesn't really
Obama
do
do the
anything.
same? Did Obama hang
Not
out with Prince
nah.
Andrew?
I don't remember it. I'm not saying he didn't, but I don't remember it.
I mean, that's why I don't really get too wrapped
No, I
up.
don't think so because the whole Obama thing was how buddy he was with Cameron. They were like buddying around the whole
Uh,
time.
I mean, that's why,
I'm not
like,
saying it didn't, but I don't think so. I don't think that was on Obama's schedule. But on Trump's, it was a giant part of his schedule, and it was behind closed doors, but not behind
I
closed
mean,
doors.
to some extent, like, again, when you have things like the flight
And
manifest
I
and
did, I
stuff
know,
like
I was
that,
like,
I
I
get,
said this before Epstein even got arrested. Don't you remember when I was like taking a piss out of Trump's visit here? I even said like how like what like Prince Andrew, come on. How
I,
come Trump gets to get out of jail free? Like, if that was Obama, like, I don't know, Obama's like, say Bill Clinton came to England for 3 days and he spent 2 of those days with Prince Andrew, everybody like going crazy, and rightly so.
I don't know enough about Prince Andrew to like I don't know, like I'm not I guess I'm just
What do
not
you need to
seeing your
know?
angle. Like
What do you need to know about Prince Andrew?
I don't I do like what I guess my question would be like, what is this communicable disease that he has that being near him is an indictment of someone?
It is. It's a paedophile. He's convicted.
But he's also a
Even
prince.
so,
Trump is the lead. Like this
you
is
don't see much of Prince Andrew. You don't see much of him. No, it's not like your normal Prince Harry, Prince William, like always Prince on is pretty much keep him out of the picture.
I mean, my whole thing, and like I was trying to say, is this is why I don't get too wrapped up in this whole like. Well, here's a picture
No,
with
but you don't even admit it's not weird that no one else has even like just brought this up.
because I don't think there's anything to bring up.
But if it's Bill Clinton, people would be going insane.
If what, Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew played golf
If
together?
Clinton had been here like 3 months ago, he was here for 3 days, and he spent 2 of those days with Prince Andrew, everyone would be like, "What the fuck was going on there?"
I don't know. Like I said, I really let me just say, because I can't speak for everyone else. I can just say I don't
You don't
like.
think Trump knew about Prince Andrew based on
Yeah,
what happened with Epstein a few weeks
I'm
ago?
sure he did,
He was
and I'm
playing
sure
golf,
it
and
was
you're like,
discussed.
no, because that's the argument you're putting across is like, oh, well, Trump's just like going, duh, I don't know, duh, I don't know
No,
anything.
no,
He's
that's
just a
not what I'm saying
prince.
at all.
It's
That's
like, no, it's clearly running a child trafficking worldwide. Fucking
but
Trump knows it. He's saying
but
golf
hold
course
on,
again.
because I've there's 2 points I've tried to make that I haven't gotten to finish, and I think
Right.
it show where I'm at with this. First off, mafia dons don't take each other out. They are told to go off into the sunset with their money and never to be seen of again. Which, as you're saying, Prince Andrew has been hiding out. No one has seen him, and it's basically because they're given an ultimatum. They're told, out of respect for even the shitty things they've done, that listen, the gravy train is ending. You can either take your money and run off into the sunset and never to be heard of again, or we're going to have to handle you like you were anyone else. I mean, that's essentially the
How?
conversation I think Trump gave to
How?
Hillary. What do you mean, how?
How? How are you? What are you going to do to Prince Andrew?
Exactly. What are you going to do to Prince Andrew?
Yeah.
Exactly my point.
What?
What is he going to do to him?
Yeah, that should be a fucking concern. So who had the upper hand during these 2 meetings? You're getting it now. You're figuring this out. I like it. So who had the upper hand during these negotiations, whatever negotiations they were,
Well, it depends.
on this golf club,
It
where
depends.
Trump knew what was going. He knows. Andrew knows that he knows.
It depends. Yeah, if Trump has the evidence on Prince Andrew, well, like you said, he could make it public, or he could
He
have
does
gone to
have
him and
it.
said,
We've seen it. It's out.
okay. But and then to my other point, like this whole idea that pedophilia spreads like the flu, basically, where it's like,
No, I'm not saying that.
someone's pictured
No one's
next to
saying
Jimmy
that, Graham.
Savile, therefore they are indicted for everything Jimmy Savile has done and must have the same
No, no, no,
proclivities
no, no.
as.
You can't. No, no. It's very inappropriate for Trump to be playing golf. Even if Epstein hadn't been busted weeks later, it's still inappropriate. Makes it even more inappropriate. That seems to be the most weirdest thing. That should be the most. I want to know what they were talking about discussion on that
Epstein,
golf course.
obviously. Like,
And Trump.
that would be my
Well, how
whole
no? Because a minute ago
thing.
you're like Trump's just there going, "What do you do? What's going on? What do you do? It's just a prince." I know. And then Trump can't handle this situation because, like you said, what's Trump going to do to Prince Andrew?
I mean, my whole take on it is like,
The whole thing stinks, and it's not just the reason that stinks there. The fact that, I mean, I shouldn't laugh.
but let me
Where
put
is
this out there.
Epstein, Jamie? Jamie, where's Epstein? Where is he? Come on,
But
where is he?
hold on, let me just
No,
throw
no,
this
Jamie,
out there.
where's Epstein? Where's
What
Daddy's pig?
what do you mean, where's Epstein?
Well, exactly. Where is he?
Isn't he dead? Is he
I
not
don't
dead?
know. No one knows.
But why?
All we know is
But
he
here's
left
my
the
other
building.
point, though.
Epstein's left the
What do
building.
we think Epstein was doing?
He was just like the front piece for this giant
National security.
organization.
Yes, national
He was
security.
into
I
I
mean,
don't know what he
let
was
me
up
just
to,
ask,
to be
how many
honest.
levels
I
of
don't know.
classified, how many levels of classified do you think are concerning this matter? I mean, again, to think that this stuff is going to be
Jamie, I'm just asking you,
public
where is
or
he?
not.
Where's Epstein?
He's either dead or he's off in hiding somewhere with a new
alive.
face.
He's either dead or alive. Brilliant. So let's just.
No, well, you
No
missed
one
the second
knows.
half of what I said. He's either dead or he's off and had plastic surgery, so he looks like Bin Laden or Walt Disney or something.
Jamie, it's not gone well.
But the point I'm trying to make is, again, we think Epstein was a high-level blackmail procurer for the deep state. So to think that this whole matter,
The arrest then?
huh?
There's been no other leads or arrests that I've seen.
Oh my
No.
God, Paul, you're missing the point about, again, national security. This is the highest of the high level. To think that this stuff would be going on in daylight, I feel like, is so naive.
Yeah, if they were ready to bring him in, yeah, they brought him in.
Epstein, they were. But do you think they're just going to say, okay, Epstein's gone, so let's just nab everyone else up overnight? I'm telling you, you will not see a conclusion to.
That's exactly
No, I'm telling you, you will not see a conclusion to this until we still don't have all the evidence on Kennedy's assassination.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you on that. It's going to go exactly so. This is gone.
Yeah, well, it's going to be gone for at least a decade. I can tell you that, at least a decade. Because some of these things, because of, again, the level of national security and classification, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, I'm just saying this is the reality of the situation.
That goblin creature now, with all the power. No, Trump can't have that
power. Trump doesn't have half the power you think he does. That's part of the problem with all this. No, he doesn't. The president is the least powerful branch of government. Least.
Not since he got his little grubby hands all over Epstein's computer drive.
Because you have to but the president isn't in charge of any of the shit. This is the problem. Is, again, people have gotten so used to Obama with his I have a phone and I have a pen that we think the president is supposed to be acting this way. Remember, we were all outraged when the president unilaterally declared war on someone because the president doesn't have that ability. So again, the president, all he can do is appoint someone to these departments. He doesn't run them, he just picks who runs them. So
but this is how I want to see the next interview of Trump, right? This is how it goes. Like, I'll be presented. Question number 1 needs to go to Donald Trump. Trump, what happened at Vegas, bro? That'd be a great question. And that's never, why doesn't anyone ask that? Number 2, what were you doing?
Hold on, Paul.
Try not to laugh when you ask.
Paul, do you know how many levels of security clearance are above presidential? There's 11. There's 11.
That's what happened at Vegas.
But that's what I'm trying to say. There are 11 levels of security clearance.
Just roughly, what happened?
It appears to be an arms deal gone wrong with the Saudis that own the floor above.
Trump's never even come close to saying that. Although I'm with you on that.
But the point I'm trying to make is there are 11 levels of security clearance above presidential. Like, people have this fantasy that a president's going to get into office and know something about aliens or something like that.
No, I'm not talking about aliens, no.
The levels of security clearance that go above presidential are for positions that are not electable. That they're...
No way.
Huh?
Because I think in some ways the black guy's right. You are kind of in that team. Like, Obama wouldn't have gotten away with that.
Yeah, he would have. Obama got away with what happened at Sandy Hook? What happened what happened with Fast and Furious?
Yeah, I don't think Obama got away with that.
I think he did.
No, I remember everyone going berserko over Fast and Furious. Alex Jones went mental for about at least 4 years about that.
See, I guess maybe my
Relationship.
confusion is like, are you just judging this on public outrage? Or are you like, what is the
You just
metric
think
of follow
Trump gets a
through?
lot of passes that he doesn't deserve.
I would agree with that, but I also agree that like there's a difference between someone who's trying to play within the bounds of the job they're given and then someone who likes to always be.
Trump isn't playing the bands. He covered up Vegas. I don't know what happened. No one knows what happened. It's just blatantly
But
covered up.
again, like
And it's same with Epstein.
it's so odd to me to say Trump covered it up. Now, like again, maybe you're just using him as the front of the
Yeah.
departments he has
Yeah,
appointed,
but he
but
did campaign on the idea of like how bad it was to have these cover-ups in the first place. Like he even went in Name 9/11 how it was atrocious, it was covered up and it needs reinvestigating. And he just plays the same trick. I just don't get it.
I don't know. I mean that I will be 100% with you. I wish we did see more follow through on the stuff he said about 9/11 and getting some answers for that. I mean that I definitely agree with because he said that on the campaign. But I don't know. I feel like I I have a different view on the way this power structure is actually structured, and I don't see Trump at the top. I see Trump in the middle. Like, and that's where I think we're having this disconnect because I don't see him as the top guy. Unfortunately, I think the top guys are guys that aren't even within the government. It's your Soroses and your Kissingers and your Brzezinskis and your, like these people that are just always there advising. They're on Bilderberg and the CFR and all of that stuff where it's like I feel like because Trump is in now and because we have things we want from him, we suddenly forget about the globalist structure that we were complaining about when we had presidents that were functioning with it.
I just want to know why he was playing golf with Andrew and then saw him again in France. I just think it's weird.
See, I don't because I think, like I was saying, again to my warring mafias,
Why were you with Andrew? Like, what does Andrew have to offer?
info
Why are you
about
there?
Epstein's operation, I would assume.
That's pretty shady.
What do you mean?
I think. What do you mean? I think it's shady.
Hold on, let me put another thing out there. So what I was saying about my boss and her house being broken into, they know the woman who did it. It was a woman. I don't want to say any of this too much because it's gonna. If God forbid this video ever came out, it gets linked to the case. So they know the woman who did it, or they have a suspect and everything like that, and it's someone my boss knows. The police are advising her to play it cool and to act like, even though they've questioned her, that she doesn't think she's a suspect or responsible, even though they 100% know she did it. They're saying because we might have to arrange a controlled conversation. Now, let me throw this idea out there. What if Trump was wearing a wire when he played golf with Andrew? And what if he was getting that conversation recorded?
I don't know. That's why I want to ask. That's why it needs to be asked. Like, what was going on?
But again, you can't have covert surveillance, national security stuff being.
It's not covert. I read it in the fucking paper.
You read it in a paper that they hung out. Who's this?
Yeah.
Cody N10. Hey, how's it going? Someone watching on Twitch? What's going on? If
Yeah.
you're still there watching, I'm sorry, I don't have my thing up like I normally do in both windows because I
Ask
only have
them
one monitor
on
today.
Twitch. Ask the dude on Twitch.
I mean, like I said, I think they were playing golf
only have
together
Twitch
to
guys,
get
so-
to get information about it.
Long
But
way to come to play golf.
I mean, but it's the golf thing is
With
second.
Prince
I mean,
Andrew.
let me just ask
Other than him being a paedophile,
if
what
they
is
had
the
golf,
other?
if they had a golf or ate a steak or went out for a beer, like what difference does what they were doing make? Really,
We all know what golf means.
I don't.
You don't know what? Come on, Jamie, you're not dumb.
I
Why
know.
do men go and play golf? Why do they do golf?
Generally to
Means to
discuss
go do
business.
business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do know what it means.
Yeah. But again, this is what I'm
So why
saying.
play dumb on it then?
Huh?
You know what it means. You know
Because
what it means.
because I'm not
You
getting
know
the
what
I'm not
it means.
getting the nefarious aspect of it. Because, like I said, how do you know he wasn't wearing a wire to get intel? Like, how do you, like,
I don't know anything other than I think it's weird. I think
I
it's pretty
I
shady.
don't think it's weird at all if he's tied into this Epstein thing and we have Epstein in custody. I think it makes complete sense, actually. Like, that's where I'm having this issue, because it's like, again, if you have Epstein in custody and you're trying to close in on this, you're gonna want to talk to people that you know have information, but you're not gonna want to bring them in cuffs and have them on the
You can't bring them in
defensive.
handcuffs.
Exactly. You're gonna want to do it in a way that they will feel comfortable and hopefully reveal something that they wouldn't reveal if they're on the defensive. Like, you want them relaxed. You
No.
want them to slip.
I don't know, I can
Like,
only guess, but I would have thought Prince Andrew would have the upper hand in how this conversation goes and how this deal goes.
I don't know. I think it depends what Trump has on him.
I don't see why. I don't know. I don't see why I'd care.
I
But
don't I
yeah,
don't know, but I'll tell you, and you're really not gonna like me saying this, but I'm fucking sick of Epstein and pedophiles and the whole bit. I'm so sick of
no, I'm
talking
just
about
sick of
it.
how it's. Yeah, me too. But I agree with you. I'm just gonna finish on the whole place has been concreted out. He had plenty of time to do it. Nobody knows where he is. No one's even bothered raiding the Mexico ranch. We haven't found anything out from the raid. There's been no further
Well, and plus
arrests.
it looks like things were
No one's in
removed
trouble
before the
for like
raid.
this suicide. It's just the whole thing's.
Yeah, the whole thing
I
is a
don't know.
mess. Like, and it's like it's one of these things where, they do this all the time though, where we're just supposed to chase our tails endlessly, going down endless rabbit holes that lead to nowhere. And it's like, I like, half the time even it's like I question what's disinformation and what isn't. It's like the whole thing with these shootings. Oh, well, there were 3 shooters, there wasn't a shooter, there was this, there was that. And it's like, it's just meant to drive everyone crazy. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
what I was going to get to. I think that's the point. It just makes people give up complete hope. But that's one of the greatest propaganda mind tricks. If you can build up all this hope they're going to bust it, and then again, doesn't go in. People just being like, it's almost, I can't think of the right word. It's not quite despair, but just lost hope.
apathy.
You just lost, I don't know. You just lose all hope of any justice.
I don't know. I see. I
Or
wouldn't go
even the
as far as to
expectation
say
of
that
hope.
there's no hope for justice, but I just think it's like, in some of these cases, like I said, it's when people are high enough levels of power, they aren't brought to the same sort of justice as everyone else, but they're just given the mafia retirement package, basically, where they're told, take your money, take your island, and fuck off, and don't ever be seen from again, or otherwise then you will be subject to regular justice. I mean, that's what Jordan Maxwell has always said, where it's like, these people, they're it's a big club, we're not invited, and it's warring mafias where, none of them ever take out the other one. They're just, like they said that about Gaddafi. They said Gaddafi isn't really dead. He was just sent off elsewhere to live his life quietly, and, let it, or maybe Gaddafi was the one that they said they actually didn't give that luxury to. But, people have debated if that's what they've done with Saddam Hussein and things like that. People have debated that's what they did with Hitler. Hitler's the greatest example of that, because the FBI knew he was living out the rest of his life in Argentina and just got to die an old man, and they faked his death and everything like that. Look at Epstein like that. Epstein is probably akin to the Hitler story, where 50 years from now we'll have hunting for Epstein in a fucking Taiwanese jungle somewhere, where he had a little hut and a fucking 15-year-old giving him bubble baths or some shit. Like, and they just had to remove his operation, but didn't really remove him.
And Epstein, yeah, that'd be a good show, man.
See?
Jesus Christ.
I mean, that's my take on it. That's what I think it really is like. I mean, and like I said, I'm not saying good, bad, or anything other than that just is what it is. Because, you know, if I had my way, I'd say, you know, Stone Age punishments for these people, fucking public hangings. That's what I think we need. Bring those back.
Yeah, well, I'll give it like until November, but I'm sticking to my word. Like, this doesn't go anywhere. I'm just like not buying into it anymore ever again. Trump can do it, say whatever he wants on Twitter or whatever.
I mean, I'll
I'm just
tell
not.
you, I think
Don't.
things are really interesting where I will give it to you. I think a lot of things that are happening,
And I think
especially
millions and millions of people feel the same way as me. I'd be like,
well, no,
I
I
don't
was gonna
care.
say I think you're right because I think you know. Let me put it like this: as much as there's
And that's
hatred,
why I think you're right. It's all just TV, the Epstein thing. The whole point is just a giant bit of TV to get people to just whatever to government. 'Cause that's what we got in England. People just like a whatever point. And
yeah.
when you're at whatever point, the government can just pull whatever they want because no one even cares. There's like,
Well,
not even any point debating it.
and I was gonna say,
They
you
go,
know,
so Trump go, I'm going to open slave camps. I'm going to throw you in. People be like, okay, yeah, okay, I get it, fine.
well, and I was gonna say, you know, Black Pigeon Speaks actually did a video on the meme war, and I think it brings up an interesting point that there's a lot of things going on, whether it's internet censorship and Trump not sticking up for Alex Jones and Gavin and all these people that really helped put him into office.
Yeah, right, and Assange, if you believe the Assange thing.
Yeah, you know that there's a lot of points against Trump right now. Like, and that's the thing is like I'm not some sort of sycophant where it's like I would like you know when it
Yeah,
comes
you're
to
more in debt. Yeah, it's a good point. You're more in censorship than what you
when
are of Obama.
when it comes to like the justice system and all those things, I feel like and you know it could just be you're from Britain, I'm from America. I know more how the laws and all this bullshit works over here, but it's like those are the things where it's like I think it's unfair to sort of solely blame him for that stuff. Now, when it comes to the censorship stuff and him not having Alex's back or not having Gavin's or any of that, or the wall and the slow progress on that, like it's I mean it's happening, but it's like baby steps, and it's like there's so many things that it's like I don't see his base being as enthusiastic as they were the first time around. And on the same hand, the Democrats are in a really bad position too, where it's like, I really think despite the hatred for Trump, you're going to have such low voter turnout for the next
Yes.
election that I will agree with you that I think people, not over the Epstein thing, but over everything else, I think they're really in a point of just fuck it. Like they just
Yeah, that's what we
don't.
got here, yeah. Record low turnout for voting.
Yeah, they just don't care. They don't think it makes much of a difference either which way, and it's going to be hard to convince them to show up and come out or anything like that because it's like really the only things you're going to get are protest votes where it's like let me put it like this. I would show up to vote for Trump just to protest what the Democrats are saying about free health care for illegal immigrants. And I like my vote for Trump would be more of a vote against the socialist Democrats. Now, the socialist Democrats or even the Democrats that aren't strict socialists, they would show up to vote for these socialist wingbats as a protest to Trump. So it's like, I think really all you're going to have are both sides saying, well, I'm just voting for them because I hate the other guy. Like, they're not even going to vote for someone they're really a fan of. They're just going to vote because they dislike the other side more. And that's really bad. Because then no one's getting what they want. They're just not getting what they really don't want. So I mean, I would say, you know, even though we think it's happening for different reasons and on different routes, the end point is we agree that that's where it's heading to.
Yeah, well, see, October's going to be a giant one because I don't want to get all occultic. But I mean, you got Brexit again. I keep saying it, Halloween 31st. It's the last Halloween of the decade, 2019. Can't see why people aren't like, why are we trusting wizards on Halloween at 11 p.m.? Like they've obviously
Wait, they're
got
doing
something.
another Brexit vote on Halloween?
No, that's when I don't even know what happens on. That's when Boris. makes the decision. I don't
Oh,
even know what that
that's
means, the
weird.
decision. Yeah. And my dad's like, oh, we'll definitely be out. We'll definitely out. And I keep going to my dad, going, Dad, what planet are you on?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
how dare you, Paul? It's like, but Dad, how long have you been waiting for Brexit? It's like 3 years. It's like, exactly, bro. What makes you think they're gonna do it now?
yeah, and that's the thing I
Yeah.
agree with is like, if it's been this long already, what makes anyone think it's actually going to happen?
Yeah, and Boris the Clown. Like, when did we put like when
Yeah.
Boris the Clown is up to something on the 31st of October, which happens to be Halloween at 11 p.m. I don't know. I don't know why I'm not buying that. I know it sounds
I
childish.
wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I think that sounds creepy.
I think what will happen is there'll just be some kind of vote of no confidence, and then I reckon Ken Clark's going to walk in. And as I always said, who do I keep saying is really running the UK? Who do I keep telling you? Ken Clark. I always tell my parents that. It's like, watched House of Commons debates. It's obvious that Ken Clark is the real Prime Minister, and has been for like yonks, because no one ever disrespects the Ken Clark, ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's
There's no one. And the
another
House of Lords, have you seen the House of Lords, how out of control it gets? They're all like, yeah, whoa, and it gets really out of hand.
Oh, yeah, I know.
When Ken Clark stands up, they all shut the fuck up. Always. And it's because he was chairman of Bilderberg. He's in Council of Foreign Relations. Like, he is the daddy.
Yeah. Well,
Fuck Theresa May. Fuck Boris the Clown. I always said it's this guy you need to be watching, Ken Clark. The Groper.
I don't know.
Everyone
I
goes,
think
oh,
it's
Paul, you're insane. Boris the Clown will get us out. It's like you
yeah.
said this about Theresa, that she was a strong woman. She was a freaking. I mean, it was hilarious, but. Ugh.
Yeah, it's Brexit's one of those things where it's like you're saying, it's been long enough at this rate that I just how can you have faith that it's going to happen? Why would it have to take this long?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't either. But whole thing's a mess, and it's like all I can hope is like see. But here's part of the thing. I mean, it doesn't apply as much in the situation with Brexit because you guys are tied to this European super state. But it's like my only hope is that it's like the ineffectiveness and I guess maybe ineptitude of government would hopefully encourage people to look for solutions elsewhere. Because again, my position is always government should be the last resort. So it's like if they're failing at everything, well, then we should look outside of them for, solutions and stuff like that. And it's like that's why I staunchly oppose socialism is because socialism is basically the idea that government should be the first resort for everything. And it's like I
Well,
am
that's where I
definitely
think England's going to go. It's exactly where we're going. Because we're going to reduce carbon emissions down to zero. You know that, right? Have you heard
I've
that?
heard that that's the plan,
Yeah.
but
No, they're actually doing it, man.
which is
So that means there's not going
insane.
to be a job. You're not going to have a job.
Yeah,
Because that's going to be obviously carbon commission. And they even say, like, we got to look at a 1 day week working week in England now.
that's
But and this
crazy.
is, they want this done. It's like not like, oh, by 2050. It's like by 2025 they want this shit done.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's ambitious in a really crazy sort of way. I mean, I really just like the whole carbon thing is so odd to me where it's like I just can't believe someone just hasn't stood up in the middle of one of these things and been like, "Carbon, you mean the stuff the plants need?" Like how have we convinced ourselves that the stuff the plants need to grow is bad for the earth?
Well, Owen Benjamin gets it. The only answer is family structure. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah,
Once that's gone, you're just going to run into government and believe anything daddy tells you.
yeah, yeah, and it's I don't know, it's awful.
I think we're going to get some big attacks coming in the UK. So they've got to do something just to, like I was
You
thinking,
know,
the most obvious thing would be to have a royal funeral on Halloween.
you know,
Because
I
like my mum, like don't get me wrong, I love my mum, but I always say to her like, "Where's your line in the sand?" Like I keep telling her, because she still trusts government. She
yeah.
knows everything, and she still likes the royal family. And I'm like, Lord Mountbatten's now a paedophile. I was like, Prince Charles. She's like, Prince Charles never knew about Jimmy Savile. And I'm like, Mum, stop watching the BBC. I was like, now you've got Prince Andrew, and she's like, oh, but.
Well, you know, and it's like my whole thing, and it's like I really, really don't like having to say this, but you know, when I see these things where it's like all of the people that helped elect Trump that he hasn't stood up for, and all the things that he promised that he hasn't really been able to come through on and stuff like that, it's like I start to think it sometimes like the only guarantee he has at re-election is if a war is started. Like, because, you know, when presidents
No,
are.
but if no, but sorry to go back to my mum. When I said, do you think the Queen will kill Prince Andrew? She like considered it. She was like, and it's like this is a family you're defending. Where it's like, do you think the mum will kill the son? She's like, I don't think about that. It's like, and you still think this is a great like. It's not that out the realm. Like if I
Yeah.
said to you like, oh, Jamie's thinking about killing his sister, you'd be like, just no way, no way. But
I'll
when I
tell
say,
you
oh,
though, it's.
will the Queen kill her son?
But
It's like,
that's.
yeah, I could
That's the
see
thing
that.
with this older generation for some reason. And maybe you know what it is maybe they've had enough of these moments like that we're talking about, where it's like the government just gives you all these rabbit holes and no answers, and you get used to no answers, so you get used to the cognitive dissonance where it's like I'm saying, that coworker of mine where I can be like, lawyers and lawmaking is bad, it's a conflict of interest, and he can be like, yeah, 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 you're right, you're right, you're right. But
You want to hear
meanwhile,
my dad selling communists and things?
but meanwhile he
Hang on.
supports all of these. Like, it's like in one breath they'll say in a general principled sense this is
I'm
a
going to
bad
introduce you
thing.
to my dad.
Huh?
I'm going to introduce you to my dad. I'm going to read you two emails he sent me.
All right.
Because if anyone, like, I think he's a commie, but if anyone can make an argument for communism, it's got to be my dad. And he's the last person I thought would ever be a communist.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I'm kind of surprised that you're even saying this.
Here we go. So it started here. He said, we were watching a program about being poor, and I so much feel that we should have a universal income and a living wage paid as a minimum wage with 0 hour contracts made to have a minimum number to. So let me start again. Okay, let's make sure we read this properly. We were watching a program about being poor, and I so much feel that we should have a universal income and a living wage paid as a minimum wage with 0 hour contracts made to have a minimum number for agreed fixed hours. Society can afford for every non-piss taker to have a minimum income so they can eat and keep warm and somewhere to live, even if those piss takers that refuse to work are forced to do council maintenance or volunteer type work. And it shouldn't be impossible to improve housing. We cannot claim to be an advanced civilized society with so much unjustified pain for ordinary decent people. So I was watching this program the BBC did about universal income, and my dad was like,
Yeah.
I'm in, we can get more housing. So so then I wrote back, so these are his points for why universal income will work. He's done 5 points. Straight back. I won't bother giving him my stuff. Yeah. So he said that the current trajectory is that both the amount of work that will be needed in the future to feed everyone or most people is reducing. So that in the future, at some point, the percentage of people needed to produce all of our food will be a very small percentage of people. Okay. Agree with that point,
Yeah.
Jamie?
I mean, technology does make it
Ned?
so we need less, labor, I guess. But
Point two, he says, at the same time, here's his number two. At the same time, the nature the nature work is also changing. Nature of work is also changing. When I was younger, the largest world industries were manufacturing, largely cars, then oil took over as the largest companies. And now the largest world industry is personal data, for example, Facebook, Twitter, Google. It might be that in the future the biggest issue will be twofold: what to occupy ourselves with, and how to make sure that no one is at the edges of society and unable to feed themselves. In the future, it might well be leisure. I don't know what that means. Don't know what that means. The point Fred I need to read, it just says like ancient societies do this, which is a good point. But anyway, 4. Our systems have merged basically in knee-jerk response mode to abuses. So when a small number of people taking a piss hits the Daily Mail, then the political pressures respond by throwing a baby out of the bathwater. As its simplest, for example, there is nothing to stop society making several small town or architectural land using mobile home technology, so that starter housing at the edge of large towns that have employment opportunities. And then finally, he says, there is enough wealth in the world for everyone to be able to feed, house, and be kept warm. Those with the most do not need all they have and can never spend it. For example, the observe of the unfairness you cite is that we have worked hard to own 2 homes. However, in the event we need to care when we get older, the state will take away those houses and will not only so on.
he's basically
really
talking about communism. He's commie. I mean, it's and it's so funny because from what you've told me, your dad is pretty wealthy himself, which it makes me think that part of this position is out of personal guilt of some sort. But it's like
That's what I said to him. I said, I think that's what they've done. They've pulled on your heartstrings. They know what heartstrings to pull on.
Yeah.
They know that you're a really compassionate guy. And also you have guilt because kind of the boomers probably did cause a lot of this.
Yeah.
They might not have been aware.
Yeah. Well, I actually started reading at one point this book about the baby boomer generation, and it's called A Generation of Sociopaths. And it basically just talks about how they put in all these systems like, Social Security and stuff like that without thinking about the long-term ramifications for the next generation because they were just concerned with what it's going to do for them. Like, it's like, I'll get into conversations with my mom all the time where she's like, you really need to start putting away for retirement and this and that. And I'm like, Mom, I can't afford a place of my own now. Like, why do you think my concerns are, like, 20 years in the future if I can't afford things currently? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it definitely sounds like your dad is
That's it. It's a boring life, man, around here.
bought into
Life's full on
communism.
coming.
Like,
And at the same time, it's still like anti-EU. Like, it's like, we need to get out.
the thing I just wonder about, that sort of outlook on
Kind of
things.
doesn't mind Trump. So it's kind of like weird. Like, it's not like he's not an anti-Trumper. He's like into like Brexit. So he's like a
Well, I
mixed
think,
bag.
yeah, I think it's like, it's a weird sort of, well, I think you can tell, like,
I think also, like, I don't want to get like religious, but I think it's also because he's such a hardcore atheist.
yeah.
So,
Well, that kind of ties
like,
into
he wants to do some kind of like money can do good.
that's part of the thing I was gonna say is, it I just wonder when they talk about like societies evolving and people not needing to work and all this other universal income stuff where I'm like, people are already having issues with depression and all of that because we have so much like endless entertainment and leisure stuff now that it's like,
No, that was my argument I sent to him. That was my argument. I just almost, I just gave him the Stefan Molyneux argument that whatever you tax, you get less off. Whatever benefits you give out, you incentivize. Whatever you incentivize, you get more off, and whatever you penalize, you get less off.
yeah,
So you're gonna get less tax and more people on welfare.
yeah,
Just don't make any sense.
and you're gonna
It
get,
just sounds like communism wrapped in a bow because they know what heartstrings to put on you.
well, yeah, and it's like, it's
Like, what's the cost going to be? And I sent him the articles on how universal income had failed in like a couple of European countries. Like they have tried it, it just fucking
yeah,
fails. And sent him those articles on that. What's it called? I can never pronounce it, but the patriarch, well, not patriarch, the paricrat society. Where there's going to be a society of people which just don't know what to do with themselves.
yeah.
It just sounds like it's already been pre-written. Because they've been talking about this idea for a long time, and now you're selling me the idea, which I've already read about. Fucking.
Yeah, and it's like one of these things where it's like I just think in a society like that,
It's like you said, all the road to hell is that what
with good intentions. Yeah,
what's the saying? The road to hell
is
is
paved with good intentions. Well, and the other thing too is, we have this whole thing where in America, they try to like de-incentivize people doing things through taxes, where it's like we don't want people smoking, so we're going to put exuberant taxes on cigarettes so that they're super expensive. And I mean, all it does is give politicians and the lobbyists tons of money. Like it doesn't really, I don't think it really deters anyone from doing these things. But if you apply that mindset then to money and wealth, it's like, okay, so you're going to tax the shit.
Yeah, that's interesting. How much is a pack of 20 Marlboro in the US?
$12.
Shit.
Now you want
Yeah,
and now here
that's 12 quid, 10 quid.
now here's the interesting thing, because I worked at a cigarette shop and there's this company, American Spirits, that is like an all natural cigarette company. They don't use additives or anything like that, and they used to have these coupons, get a pack for $1. And I asked one of their reps once, I said, how do you guys do this? How are you affording to give away packs for $1? And they said, what the coupon is a tax credit. They said the real price of a pack of cigarettes is $1, and all the rest of that amount is the taxes, basically. And I was blown away by that, where I was like, so you're basically telling me there's like 120% tax rate on a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, basically. But it's like, if they do that same thing to wealth, well, then all people are going to think is it's not worth it to work. So then who are we going to end up taxing? Because you're going to have a generation then that will come up saying there's no point in doing any of this.
My dad explained it. You'd have to work for the government when they demand it.
Well, yeah, so you'd end up with forced labor camps like you do in all these fucking... Yep. I mean...
Well, he thinks Singapore would be like the best model. I don't know what Singapore's like, but he loves that place.
Yeah, I'm not... I have no idea either.
Right, I want to cook some dinner, man.
Alright.
Watch it burn from a distance. The world, that is. Gonna watch it burn.
Alright, well, I'll catch up with you next week, man.
Yeah, well, something big will happen tonight.
Hopefully. Alright. Take care.
Catch you later, man. Right,